Hello, it's me, Annalisa, with my spiritual friend. I'm back for our last Sunday. Let me fix this up. For our last Sunday of 2021. I just need to get the list up. I'm running a little late, a little whatever, but we're fine because I'm waiting for everybody to know that I'm live. So I'm just going to get my list going. And then once people show up, we'll do great. Hang on. I'm just going to log into my PayPal quick and get the list of who's paid and who's not. Isn't this exciting? Here we go. Hi, Ola K. Hi, Linda. All right, so let me get the list. Got several of you on here already. So as always, all readings and divinations are for the purposes of entertainment only. I am a psychic. I'm not a lawyer, a doctor, a therapist, or a financial advisor. If you need one of those, please seek those. I hope everybody, if you celebrated Christmas, had a lovely Christmas. Linda emailed me, Linda Shakur, and she said she wouldn't be here, but I think she paid for one. So I don't know if we're just donating or what. As I do usually with the holiday season, I am donating 100% of the proceeds today. Proceeds, ever, of the money that I earned today to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. And starting next week, one of my friends yesterday, so you can blame her, she said, in 2022, you are no longer going to be giving away your services for free. I said, what are you talking about? I don't give away my services for free. And she said, are you kidding? This $5 crap has got to go, which I sort of get. It is like some of you pay for one question and then follow up with a million different questions, and then others of you are very respectful of it. And I donate 30% regularly anyway, and so it's sort of like I'm really not making much off of it, and I'm not doing it to make a ton of money. But it's sort of like she was like, "You're worth it. You're worth more. They know you're worth more." So hi Ashley, if you're still here, and let me read your question quick so I have it on board here. So I've had a couple of, I can't read this. Why can't I read it? There we go. So let's ask about Christopher, and then I'm going to give her validation about Mr. Olivier. Okay, so now I'm here. You have me 100%. Laura K, I'll have to check. Let me just see. It might just not have popped up yet because the last payment I have is from Ashley. Oh, now I've got, okay, Nicole. Okay, Linda. I've got a couple businesses on here, so I'll have to ask you guys when I get to it. KK, are you here? Are you here? Are you here? I don't know if you're here. Okay, so hi Ernie. Hello, Laura. I'll look for yours. I didn't, unless yours is under a business. Amazing Me is Nicole. Okay. Who is Urban Publishing? Ellen, I have yours. Hi, CH. So, okay, so here's the deal. Starting after, okay, Laura, yes, yours is definitely. I got yours. Okay. Thank you for the clarification. Hi, Urban Lady. Hi, KK. Okay, so KK, do you mind writing these down? So I have Linda Shakur as the first payment, but she emailed me, or it was paid under a different one with the same last name. So I'm thinking that it's like, what's the likelihood? And so I'm thinking that that's probably her, and she said she won't be live, and she never emailed me a question. So, but then the next I have is Jennifer Anderson, Ellen Ryan, then Mallory Garcia, Urban Publishing. I'm thinking that's you, Urban Lady. I'm very proud of you, by the way. Then there's Kay, and then Ashley, and then Amazing Me, and then Linda and Laura K. And let me know if I went too fast. I had to like my mom is visiting, and this is we call this room that I am in the Nini room because we Julie, I have yours as well. Um, so in the Nini room is where, and then when my mom visits, all the girls sleep down here with my mom. So there's like pallets on the floor, and I'm having to like, so I had to do a little. Thank you so much, KK. I had to do a little rearrangement to get ready down here. I have this new cup. Okay, so this is like you can't really see all the pretty colors in it, but it's like this woman who made it did 5 different. I forget what you call them. One of you knows it. The little dips that they do. Microwave safe, dishwasher safe, and it's called Peacock. And since I really like that, like for the whole like airy fairy aspect of the peacock is that, the tail of the peacock feather looks like an eye. So it sort of represents intuition and being highly intuitive and all of that. So I thought, how fitting. Only this is the only flaw, but I'm like going with it because it's handmade, so that nothing's perfect when it's handmade. So there's beauty in it, but it's like it's a weird texture sensitivity. I think the store is called Dragonfly, and this woman's out of Owassa, Oklahoma. And no, it's not called. Yeah, it's called Dragonfly. This is Peacock. I'm working on like 4 hours of sleep. Stress is awesome, isn't it? So there's like this weird, like it didn't get fully covered here, and so it's like a little bit rough right there. And so like I have weird texture sensitivity things. Like I really do, and I didn't realize that that's what it was until I was older, and I was like, I just thought it was weird. Um, and I'll give you the example. But so like that's the only thing, but otherwise it's like it's incredibly beautiful, and like I just am like, okay, I need to hold it, I guess, left-handed, and then I won't notice it so much. That's it, right? So I'll have to go left-handed, but I'm right-handed, so it's weird. Glaze, yes. So there's 5 different glazes that she does on this one, and it's like, I think it's a one of a kind, whatever, but it's really cool, and it holds 18 ounces. Like, if I filled it up, it's 20 ounces, but who fills it all the way up? Because 'Cause I'll spill it everywhere. Um, so I got it because I drink a lot of water in here, and I thought, "Well, what a pretty cup to have," instead of like, whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna start treating myself to pretty cups. Whatever, why not, right? Um and it's practical. I'm weird. Okay, so what else? Oh, so I went to Macy's to pick up my one little girl wanted to get little presents for her friends, and I went to Macy's to pick them up because I had to order them because I couldn't find them. Anyway, they're just like little stuffed animals, whatever. And I saw like I'm like super attracted to really soft looking things, right? So I was like, oh, let me feel that sweater. It looks so soft. And I literally went up to it and I like screeched. I was like, because it looked really, really soft, but it was like touching um like what do you call it? Fiberglass and like wool. I can't like wool when in the 90s, if any of you remember those big alpaca wool sweaters that people like were really, if you lived in Wisconsin or the Midwest, and maybe it's a Canadian thing too. I don't know. They were like fashionable, like also big baggy pants and socks and Birkenstocks. So I lived in Wisconsin, forgive me. And for high school and college. And so like I always wanted to wear them, but I was like, I literally could not figure out how people could wear them without turtlenecks because it felt like glass and barbed wire cutting me. Anyway, I don't know why I'm randomly telling you this. I'm telling you that because of this, but I have a weird like texture thing. Anyway, so I always chalk it up to I couldn't be really psychic if I wasn't super sensitive, right? Okay, so let's go. So next week, this is what I'm gonna be doing. I'm upping the price of the questions. So they're gonna go to like my friend had said, 10 to $15 a question, limited to 10 people. Then you're done. I'm gonna do a $12 to go in between because I have a hard time. So it's gonna be $12. I'm still donating 30%. It's still a really good price. I'm gonna limit the amount of back and forth, but I'm still gonna give you your good reading and your good stuff. But I think I'm worth it. You guys think I'm worth it, right? Um, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I don't know if I'm gonna limit to 10 people or if I'm gonna leave it open. So one person said limit to 10 people, another person said, no, like let as many people want to, but like it's okay to up your price. Sometimes we need permission from other people, right? Isn't that really strange that we need to hear from other people we're worth it? We forget that we're worth it. And then another person made another suggestion. She said, if other people want to donate more, the money above and beyond that would go to the charity, just straight to charity. So if you like, I would only take like from the 12, and then if say you donate 20, the extra 8 would go straight to the charity. And I like that idea too. So you guys let me know what your thoughts are. You absolutely can add it, donate and get added to the list. So I like donating to charity. I like doing, nice things for you guys. I know that you can't always afford a full reading, but yeah. I want to note a couple different things that the Britney Spears thing, I'm circling back to that because I said I thought that she would be making music. I don't know when this was, just recently. Oh, I included the link to it in below to the video and like told you about the timestamp around the timestamp time because I kind of ramble a little bit through it, but it's like from the end. But I said in 2023, I think she'll probably be coming out with new music and or performing. And it was funny because I saw something she posted just recently and she was like singing in front of her mirror and like just like sort of it was an acoustic, like, I don't know what they call it when it's just like making there's no words or whatever. And there's a name for it. I can't think of it. Anyway, and she said something like she's planning something or whatever. And I said back on this other video that I thought that she's actually writing stuff, even though she had come out like just a couple days later and was like, no, 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 I'm not, whatever. But I think she's got stuff in the mix. And I think she's working and trying to figure out where she wants to go with revealing her stuff. So that's that. Also, I'm going to circle back to like the Tom Petty thing. I don't know why it came up to me, but I was looking at when I went to went to the concert he did in Newark for his last tour, and it was on June 16th, I believe it was, of 2017. And when I left there, I thought, oh, and I said something to my husband. I was like, I heard that he's gonna have a heart attack soon and die. And he passed away in October of that year, the beginning of like October 2nd. And even though it was a drug overdose, they actually said it was cardiopulmonary arrest, secondary to a drug overdose, accidental drug overdose. So I get weird stuff. That came up, I think, because I get weird stuff, and you guys are worried about opening up your own intuition, and you shouldn't be worried about opening up your own intuition. First of all, if you're sort of removed from it, it becomes less scary. Like it's like, okay, well, people do die. I mean, that's a fact of life. We're all born, we all die. That just happens. Okay, Leo said, I'm going to get all of you guys, and you shouldn't be afraid to open up your intuition because you're afraid it's going to be the other people that I've gotten that are like closer to me that do pass away. I get it in very different and very weird ways. And it's never super clear to me that that's what's happening. But like my mom's best friend from high school, a couple months before he passed away suddenly and unexpectedly and very tragically, I had a dream and it was like going through this. And then when I offered to do a reading for his wife, and everything that I had had in this dream was actually her reading. And I didn't realize it because of the way readings are. It's not about the death itself. It's about the living, the life that they lived and the connections that they made and all of that. So it was really quite fascinating. And this was a man that I just absolutely loved as a little girl. I thought just both of these people I thought were just amazing. So that's it. So just don't be afraid of your intuition. It doesn't come through in really scary ways and it's really calm. So random ramble. Um, I'm excited for the new year. I don't know why. I mean, I'm exhausted right now. I don't know if anybody else has been feeling like the weird shifts of the energy and just feeling like it's like kind of chaotic. It really is. And sometimes we white knuckle through it, even as spiritual people, because it sometimes is really hard to find your center. And that's okay. It's okay to be in that space and don't feel like, oh my God, the world's falling apart. It's just a little bit of the tornado going on and then it'll find its place. All right, so after Julie, I've got Mo, and then I have a store. I don't know the name for it, so you'll have to tell me. It's G store because I don't know if you want this to be associated with your business. And then Leo sign. I'm getting there, Leo sign. I'm getting there. Okay. All right. All right. Please like, please subscribe, please share me with your friends. I'm on TikTok now as well. And really, there I'm just sort of sharing my psychic and my intuition insights and tips on developing your own intuition, tips on what it's like to be psychic, experiences I've had. I'm not doing readings on there, just like quick little story thingies. Thought it was fascinating because I haven't put anything there in a while. I haven't done any manifesting chats. And some of that is because my world has been a little bit chaotic lately and I'm finding my center. And sometimes some things have to drip fall away in order to find your center, and then they'll come right back in. So I'm not doing that forever. I just for now. Okay. So Linda, you're not here. Jennifer, what was your question for today? Thank you for tolerating my rambling. It's really cute because my youngest is in preschool and it's a Catholic school, and she always goes, "We have to say prayers before dinner." And she goes, "And of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you, God, for this treat we are about to eat. Amen." She didn't get taught the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts which we are about to receive from thy bounty through Christ our Lord. Amen. If any of you are Catholic. I've been looking for and applying for lots of different roles. What can Spirit tell me about my next job contract in terms of industry, locations, and term? Okay. So the first thing I'm getting is I feel like, and this happened to my best friend's son is an actor. And I always like whenever like if he doesn't get something, I'm like, don't worry about it. Because sometimes we don't get something, but like you're gonna get seen for something else. Like you're gonna get remembered for something else. Like maybe you're not the perfect fit here, but you're the perfect fit for something that's coming up and they don't even know about it yet. So for me, what I feel like is the first thing that comes up is something really kind of small. And so it either feels like, I mean, a national commercial is not really small, right? Like they pay, they're good. That's good work. um, it feels like something like small work period time or whatever. So like maybe you're an extra on a show. Um, it's something smaller, but it leads to then something bigger. It leads to like this bigger thing, like where they see you, and it's like the I'm like trying to ask if it's like the casting director or if it's somebody you'll be working with on this job where it's like they know you and then they're like starting a new project and it's either through conversation with something, everything is like literally everything's networking in that industry. I'm like rubbing elbows. Um, and it feels like knowing you're really easy to work with, knowing that you're really willing to try new things, like willing to put yourself out there and like kind of like stretch. Whereas, there's some people who are so and it's like they it's harder for them to jump out of their comfort zone, which is weird because you think in acting, right? Like that's um you're in writing and communications and marketing. So then it feels like something small. So transfer this into your terminology because that's the way they're giving to me is in this terminology. So it feels like I get something really small, and those people that I'm working with, either it's going to be for them or somebody they know is going to be like, hey, we're looking for somebody. And then it opens up to a bigger, more lucrative job. So think something small project, small feels like peanuts or whatever, but like they like your energy, they like who you are, they feel like you're easy to work with, you're willing to stretch, you're willing to expand or maybe do something that you didn't think that you could do or might not quite be in your wheelhouse, but you're willing to like learn. And then it expands you to this bigger job. And I do feel East Coast initially, and then whatever it like the smaller job feels East Coast based. So I don't know if you're on the West Coast or whatever, but it's like you may be the smaller job feels East Coast. I don't know, that's the way I'm gonna say it. And then it feels like the bigger one might be back more West Coast. I don't feel central like Chicago or anything like that. They're fairly large marketing hub. Um, that's what it feels like to me. And time-wise, February comes up as being important. Um, okay. So February comes up as important for the smaller one, but I feel like by August would be the West Coast one. But it feels like, again, it's similar to, like, with it acting and stuff, it's really, like, it's all about the connections you make and all about, like, the networking kinda stuff. It's not so much about, like, your resume is important, but it's your energy that's really, really important and, like, how willing you are to work. I don't know how to, like, work with others. Because there's some people in certain that are like, "I'm the one who has all the experience, you should listen to me." And you're like, "Yeah, bucko, but, I don't know." That's what I get. Okay? So it feels like initially East Coast and then moving to the West Coast. But that feels like by, like, August of I mean, but February feels important for the smaller one. And again, it's like not working. I'm rambling, so I'm gonna try and stop doing that now. Okay, let's move on now then to, Ellen, you're up. Happy New Year to you too. Um, Ghost, are you the one that's like the G store one? Job searching. What do you see happening next couple of months? Is your nose bothering you? I just got like a weird feeling and it feels almost like a it's not like a chemical burn, but it's like when you get something kind of like oh, like a thing like maybe water in your nose where you're just like that like burny feeling. Whatever that is, it feels like it's environmental, whatever's causing that, not a viral or anything like that. So it feels like something environmental because if they're making me feel it like it's something like where if I like you get water in your nose if you dive in the pool wrong or I don't know. I don't know any other way to make it feel. So it could just be their way of getting me to show me that it's environmental and not like it's something in the environment that's causing a weird your nose to be like that rather than being a virus or a cold. So that can be dust, that can be soot in the air, that can be the air being really dry from the temperature, that can be um, mold. I don't know, just environmental. Okay, well, you're asking about job searching in the next couple of months. Sorry. Sometimes I have to get through those feelings so I can focus. It's just the way it is. And I teach you that when you're doing your psychic development circle, which is opening January 11th. And I know all of you want to join, right? Go to my website and check it out. It's worth it. I feel like towards the end of January is when you start hitting and doing more interviews. So it just feels like a lull. And it's like to me, I'm like, well, that's kind of common sense, right? Because most businesses aren't like hiring right now. Like this is a really difficult time to hire because hello holidays. But I feel like by the end of the first week of February is when it feels like there's three. Um, I don't know if it's 3 interviews or 3 separate interviews or 3 total interviews for 1 job, but it feels like by the end of the first week, beginning of the second week, you're either accepting or right close to that exception, and I feel like by the end of February, you'll be working with them. So, like, I don't know how this works in some industries, but, like, in nursing, you don't usually start until they have, like, an orientation, and it's like a week-long hospital orientation if you're doing acute care, and, so, like, you don't there's not just like a, "Oh, you're starting Monday." It's like, "Oh, you have to do hospital orientation, and then you're put on orientation for whatever unit you're on." And depending on, like, the type of unit and if you're having to, like, really, um, change your skills, you might have a longer orientation, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I'm rambling. Just feels like you wouldn't start maybe until the end of Feb. Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm not sure if that makes sense, but or if that resonates. I'm sure my English makes sense, right? Um, I'm trying to shift up my vocabulary so it fits what I'm trying to say rather than whatever. Mallory, your turn. Okay. I got all okay after Leo sign. This really doesn't like the lighting here doesn't do it justice. It's quite pretty in person. So I still feel that feeling like of lingering feeling not quite right yet. Because me as I hit on you, I felt like this, like a little bit like not breathing quite as deep yet. And I feel like a heaviness in my stomach. They're talking about holding on to a lot of fear and uncertainty. This is going to sound weird, but I feel like some of this anxiety is related to like not sleeping enough, and also that doesn't sound weird, right? But because our anxiety and um, our aggression and our sensitivity increases when we don't get enough sleep. But I also feel like it's related to getting over COVID. So it to me, it feels like I this is just a way of making me feel is like feeling like fear and uncertainty. So then maybe this heavy stomach feeling is connected to your solar plexus, which relates to how you relate to the world, how the world relates to you, and your self-esteem kind of going on. Does the fear and the uncertainty resonate? I also feel like so I'm sort of asking in relation to your job and sort of the chaos because I know you work within the school system, the chaos and like because it's been a really rough year for yeah, it's just been a rough year. Um, okay. So then that the fear and uncertainty connects there. Okay. Okay. Um, I don't feel like your dad's gonna get it. Like, I feel like it's gonna be either pass over or it's gonna be such a light case, it's a non-issue. Um, but I also feel like everything feels lighter and better come March. And if there's a fear about shutting schools down or doing something like that, I feel like they're gonna figure out a way that it's not. So, like our school district said, for the younger kids, they won't be unless the state mandates it to shut down the schools and do go virtual. The only thing that they might do is like cut out lunches so then they have half days and they go home early. So they're still in school, but it's just not as long of a day. But I feel like it passes over. Um, and that it's okay, but it's just rough. But then I feel by March it gets better and it feels easier and it feels easier. Yay, Allie, congratulations. Thank you for the validation. That's awesome. You should be proud of yourself because I know that you worked on that and that's congratulations. Really truly. I also feel like you'll there feels like a vacation or something coming up at the end of May. So I don't know if you're planning on doing something for Memorial Day, but it feels like you are actually going to go do something nice for yourself. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and move on. Urban Publishing, is that you, Urban Lady? And your mom's gonna be okay. I don't feel like she's getting like a heavy, heavy case of this. Just think if she wrote on here, but she did, but can't read it. Gonna like flash it for y'all. Support small businesses, all of that good stuff. Um, Urban Publishing or K, you can go. And not to be confused with Ola K. This is just K. So he did have colitis. You have some meds to help him, but have you tried the meds? This is just me going on logic. This is not the psychic thing. I just want to know if you tried the medications. Um, so here's the thing about colitis. Like when and I did you stop feeding him cheese and all the other things that are non-dog foods? Like just give him dog food, things that are meant for dogs, or things that are meant for like the way your vet said. Like, they usually might recommend, ground chicken and white rice to, like, as a gut rest diet. Like, with, people, they do the brat diet, bananas, rice, plain white rice, applesauce, plain toast, things that are easy to digest, and, um turkey and kibble only. Okay. So the thing about the way they're making me feel is similar to this when they're like saying this is like it's like when a baby has a dairy allergy, it takes a while to clear that all from the system. So it feels like it's going to take a couple weeks for his gut to kind of sort of heal and get that rest that it needs. And he will start gaining weight again. I do feel like you might have to your vet may have you add like a weight gainer to his diet to like give him a higher volume of protein and fat or something. It's like I don't know. And in people, it's called like a weight gainer powder, or like in babies. When I was in the NICU, we would add and like increase the fortification of the volume, so they were getting a higher calorie count per ounce. So it feels like whatever it is, you might be adding something to his food. He's going to get better, but it does take a couple weeks for it to see the results in his tummy. And it feels like you absolutely should be giving this medication that they gave because it's going to again help heal his gut. I get it, I 1,000% get it. I've had pets. I have a pet. I have a little bunny, and, I get it. Like, bunnies are, they're prey animals, so they're really kinda sensitive, and their guts are really super sensitive, so you have to be and they can't throw up like horses can't throw up. So you have to be really, like, on top of it. I get it. I 1,000% get it, but I do feel like he'll get better. It just feels like it's gonna take a couple weeks to see the results. So here's the other thing. You can send energy to his little body, like, while you're resting and petting him, just imagine sending him, like, imagine the universe dropping in and sending healing energy through your hands to him, and sort of, like, talk to his body, and, our cells listen. Maybe that's a little airy-fairy for some of you, but they listen. Okay. Urban lady, here's your question. I disconnected from a loved one who is not willing to heal our relationship and is maintains abusive behavior towards me. Is this for good? Will it ever change? Could you just give me a first name of that person? Is that okay? It's really hard when we feel like our only option for healing a relationship is estrangement. It's really hard because it's not a choice that we ever feel like is an easy choice. And the person who's getting the wall makes you feel like it's like you're just throwing them away, all of that. There's all kinds of dysfunctional stuff that comes with that. I unfortunately have family members that I have to be estranged from for multiple family members. Oh, lots of dysfunctional behavioral patterns in my family. And I laugh because, it's not something people talk about, and it's really hard, and people feel shame and guilt around it. And the truth is when you start to heal yourself, sometimes those people who still hold those behaviors and aren't willing to really look at their own patterns, they can get even meaner. And it is unfortunate, and it totally sucks when your only choice is to, like, because you've tried the healthy attempts to say, like, "Hey, here's my boundary. Hey, you can be upset, but you can't do this. You can't call me names. You can't scream and yell at me." All of that stuff. Like, no, I'm not going to financially support you anymore. No, it's not healthy for my mental state to be around you. All of those things. Oh, you're a complete liar, and all you've done is lie and be deceptive. There's a million different reasons. Hi, Heather. Um, so did you give me a first name? I was just looking for a first name. Oh, initial is okay. Okay, for sure. So it's not final, final, but it does feel like I would put almost at 3 years before you talk again. And I don't ever feel like it'll be close. It feels like cordial and polite. Um, and it feels like because what happens is you're just gonna get to the point where it's like, well, I don't know. It feels like you feel more comfortable at a point where it's like, okay, I don't, whatever. Like, but it doesn't feel like we're texting and we're talking and we're close and all of that stuff. It feels like we see each other at a family event. And so I'm cordial and polite, but it doesn't go any further than that. It doesn't ever feel like it's close or there's an attempt to make a closer bond. But it doesn't feel totally permanently done as far as communication. Um, that's what I feel. And it's okay to do that. It's okay for your own mental health and to be, say this isn't healthy for us to remain in a relationship. And it doesn't make them evil and it doesn't make you evil or bad. It just means there are behavioral patterns that don't function well together. So, because think about it, if somebody is really super dysfunctional and the other person is really super dysfunctional, then like they can stay in that mess of whatever. But as soon as somebody starts to go, yeah, not really into this, I'm not down with that, that's where it becomes, we can't work together, can't be together. I know that sounds weird, but tis what it is. Um, KK, do you mind just typing in the, you're welcome, Urban Lady. Do you mind just typing in the PayPal connection? Um, okay, Ashley, your first question was about Christopher. You did validate that I said Olivier would contact you again, and you said you have no contact, but he did contact you. You just didn't respond. So thank you for the validation that he contacted you. He would contact you. Um, So it feels like a light and kind of the relationship. It doesn't, I'm sorry to say this. I don't feel like it's long term. I feel like it's more of a short term thing. So I don't feel like years and years and years. I feel like maybe 6 months. Okay. I'm happy to be wrong. Come prove me wrong. That's fine. But it feels like a really nice transition. It feels light. It feels fun. It feels just like a fun connection. It feels like we have fun together. We get along together. Just sort of enjoying your time in France. Um, okay. I don't know. I have several more people to do readings for. I know. It's so difficult. It won't take forever because if it took forever, I would not eat or go to the bathroom or. um, um, so it feels like you need this as like a sort of a reboot and a reset to understand that relationships can be fun and light and like just more easygoing, and it doesn't have to be so heavy and serious. And like he feels much younger, and so it feels like you're more on the same wavelength where you're at with your life experience and like sort of in your life path. And then I'll do your dad's one in a little bit. I'm gonna I threw you back onto the bottom of the list after Ola K, just so I can get through a few more questions because the mediumship usually takes a little bit longer, if that's okay with you. Linda Drost, you're up. And then Laura K. And Heather, I got your payment. Okay. Amazing me, yes. Oh, yes. You know what it is? Please go. You go. You're up next. I crossed out the name that's from your PayPal, and so I just looked at it as crossing off my list. So you or Linda are up. Thank you for saying something. Both of you. Thank you for being honorable. I'm fine with getting called out. Also, if you've done my psychic development circles before and you're re-signing up, I will be giving you a 20% rebate. I'll give it back to you after you pay it. It's just because I don't feel like going through and setting something else different up on my website. It's sheer laziness, and I'm sorry, but I promise I'll give you your money back. Amazing me. I sent CJ some money to fly to me since he was having financial issues. He lost his phone, and we can talk. Can't talk. Oh, I hate saying this. I still don't think he's fully being honest with you, and I think we talked about this before where I was like, I don't feel like he's being fully honest with you. I feel like there's some manipulation going on. Because look, if you lose your phone, it really doesn't take that long to replace it, right? Like, he's not living on the middle of an island where they have to ship it in. I literally just was watching, The Proposal, like, where he loses like, she loses her phone, Sandra Bullock loses her phone, and he's like, "We can go in town, and, like, they'll send one in tomorrow." It's like, you don't really have to. I never went into detail about it, but I say, like, with his family, like, he's not being fully honest about it? It's this feeling of, like, I don't feel like he's being fully honest. There's something for me where I just feel like there's like, if this were to come up and if I was doing a tarot reading, it'd be like the Magician card and the Devil card coming up, like, and is it 7 of Swords is the other one? It just feels something not quite honest. I don't feel like he's necessarily cheating, I just feel like he wasn't honest about why he needed the money or whatever. It's like, I feel like he's not I don't feel like he's like, "I'm buying a ticket and I'm there." And I don't feel like he necessarily lost his phone. And I hate being like, "You should manipulate," and be like, "Just go no contact," but I don't feel like it's manipulating. I feel like it's, like, moving from a place of respect and self-respect, right? And what would you tell your girlfriend? Like, what would you tell one of your friends if you started noticing this? Like, think of this as me telling you the story. "Oh, I'm with this guy, and he lost his phone, and we can't talk, and is he coming to visit me? I sent him money. I am the ticket." Like, there's a lot of things that just come up, like, every red flag in me is like, "Red flag, red flag, red flag," and they're not telling me, "This is what's going on, this is what he's doing." It just feels like there's a lot of disrespect and a lot of dishonesty. But you can go buy a phone. Like, you just go to the store and buy a phone, right? Maybe I'm looking at this wrong, but usually, like, they don't leave you too long without a phone. And there's, like, email and there's messengering things that you can do from a computer. So it feels weird to me that it's like, "Well, I haven't I we can't talk." Like, aren't you engaged? I'm just gonna say this, work on your self-concept. Go in, do the I ams, focus on you, focus on what's best for you and the things that make you happy. And then ask yourself this because if you're marrying this man, this is not psychic, okay? So this is just straight up. When you're first with somebody, they are putting their best foot forward. It goes downhill after marriage. Like, because they get comfortable and all of those other things. You're supposed to move in together. I just feel like it's going to get worse and more frustrating unless you say, "Hey, I'm not being a nag. I'm not asking a lot. Like, did you buy the ticket?" I feel like he's going to ignore you and not come. That's what I feel. I got to be honest. I feel like he's going to ignore you and he's already spent the money for something else. That's for the visit. I do feel like you're going to have a fight. I got to be honest. And I feel like um I feel like it's one of those fights where it's like, all right, it's time to or get off the pot, you know? I don't think he's entirely using you for money. I think there's a maturity issue here with him. Um, I don't think he entirely thinks about other people when he makes decisions. I think he thinks about like it's a very immature way of doing things where it's like, well, I just want what I want when I want it, and I'm not going to worry about like whatever. Like I'll come up with the way to fix it later. Like he's not thinking long term. He thinks very myopically and very much in the moment. Um, and it feels like this fight that happens is sort of the catalyst to make a shift, but it's almost like you need to want to fight for yourself, right? And for your own respect. Like you're still swimming in the use like this victimization state, and we've all been there. So I'm not going because I really sometimes we have to go through that and hit this like bottom part where we're like, wait a minute, like why am I settling for less? Why am I like why are breadcrumbs enough for me? But like my best friend, I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, why are you tolerating this? But like, oh, it's okay. That's where it's like really when I talk about the manifesting stuff, I'm really and you if you listen to anybody like Kim Velez was I listened to one of her, she did a live one for like an hour or so last week, maybe it was. And she's like, each one, it was like coming back to like, this is about self-concept. This is about self-concept. And it really does boil down to that, what we're willing to tolerate in life. And you know what? Your screen name is Amazing Me. And you are amazing. And I just think you need to like own it and believe it. Get them off a pedestal. Because I promise you, the one thing, like the best thing that happened to me in New York was dating because it really taught me like in other, like dating is different in New York than it is in the other places. And it's really like, it's not, it's like really funny. It's like, it's not personal. We're just meeting, getting to know each other. It doesn't work. It's fine. Like it becomes like a very much like a, like an interview system. I don't know. It becomes less like you just like, oh, well, it's not really about me. It's like, it's not a match. Um, Whereas in, like when I was dating in Texas or dating in Wisconsin, it was super different. It just feels like realizing like it's not really about you when something doesn't work. It's about a mismatch vibrationally and like what are you willing to tolerate? And like you're sort of setting the precedent. If you're willing to tolerate disrespect now, it only gets worse. I don't know. I just feel like I can only tell you what I feel like. I feel like he spent it on something else, and maybe it's like paying Peter to, what do you do? Borrow from Peter to pay Paul? And then like, oh, well, I'm gonna get this paycheck, and so then I'll be able to buy the ticket. So if I just tell her now that I bought the ticket, like there's some level of dishonesty happening. I don't know that he's coming to visit now, but I also don't feel like he's not coming to move in. So it just feels like he may not be coming to visit because maybe there's like an issue with the airplanes. Like if you haven't watched, there's all these different things going on. But I don't want to keep like, this is just what I'm feeling. I can't like stay on it for 20 minutes because then it becomes unfair, right? So all I can tell you is it doesn't feel like he spent that money on the ticket. It feels like he spent it on something else. Does it mean I don't think he's going to buy a ticket? No, but maybe he hasn't bought it yet. Some people aren't fully honest about what's going on because they're afraid of getting in trouble. They're afraid of confrontation. Um, that can be a very unhappy cycle of behavior to be in with somebody in a relationship with somebody. You do what you need to do. Part of it is learning your own stuff. I just feel like there is definitely an emotional immaturity thing going on. And I don't know. I don't even know if it's him having an issue with the planes. I feel like if you look at all of the flights that have been canceled, even a friend of mine was trying to fly out of New York yesterday, and it was like she was delayed for hours upon hours upon hours. So, right. So I don't know that it's him. I think it's that could be why he doesn't come, what happens, but it just feels like there's something weird that he's not being fully honest about. I don't know exactly what it is, but it feels like so maybe he didn't buy the ticket yet. He was waiting for a paycheck, but he was like, I've got to pay some other bills. So like, let me there's just something weird there. So it's something to be aware of. It's something to like not rosy color your eyes about it. Okay. Just be aware. There's some red flags here. Okay, I'm gonna move on though. Linda, go ahead and go. Okay. Working with a new great energy healer named Ty. Um, I don't necessarily feel like you'll work together, but I feel like it's a networking thing as far as future stuff. So, like, maybe he's doing work on somebody else and he sends some business your way and vice versa. Um, so it feels like more networking rather than doing like working together. There's somebody I know like out of Arizona and he does energy healing and he sends me mediumship clients because he doesn't like he can do it, but he's like, I don't like doing it. So which I get. Um sorry. um Past lives. So I feel there's a couple um sorry, I just got a weird headache. I literally saw so the first thing I got was the feeling of being a brother and sister in a past life, but then I literally saw, you know, the 5 of swords in tarot, how it's like they must have been soldiers or something together because it's like it's got the 3 different guys and they've got like one guy's holding swords and another one's like dragging, like one's walking away to defeat. So it feels like you were maybe soldiers or something together. I also feel like he will help you, like, kinda teach you about doing energy work, but not so much to be an energy healer, but to infuse it in your products. I understood he was your energy healer, I'm just, like, looking at what you wrote now. Um, we'll go ahead and close the list then just because it's getting late. Okay, so that's my feelings around that. It's just that they're that's the kind of work you'll do together. It won't be like, there's a lot of psychics and stuff, mediums that I know, and I always ask them, "Are we gonna work together?" And like energy people, and I always get curious about that because I think that would be fun down the road, especially when people that I feel like are um, that we sort of energetically connect like that. So I get that question. I understand. And then I wonder, do people think that about me? um, all right, I've got last one was Heather and Ashley. Okay, I think we're all good to go ahead and close it. Um, All right, Laura K, if you want to go, and then Julie O, you're up. Please give me a general reading for the near future. Sorry, I just heard you're helping so many people and you can't fully see it. I'm like, is this my message or is this hers? Um, they're talking about there's a lot of crossover messages that happen. So if you feel like you resonate with things, please understand that even if it's not directly for you, there's a reason for you being here and listening and catching that moment and all of that stuff. So um, yeah, I'm just gonna turn off my little tiny heater, tiny powerful heater. Um, so they want you to listen to your intuition more along your journey and like and to like honor it So they're sort of saying like you spend a lot of time wandering around, wondering, like just sort of like a pinball, just kind of getting bounced around and doing things like sort of without consciously making these decisions and just sort of like going with the flow, what I know, the regular day to day, and all of that stuff. And they're sort of saying like it's time to stop and pay attention. It's time to stop and like go within and focus on how things actually make your body feel and how like the energy feels within your body. And they're sort of like, we're trying to connect with you, open up your intuition. It's not scary. It's time to like sort of focus on that and then move with, like, take your steps with following your intuition. Take your steps like with, they're like consciously manifesting what you want. Um, It feels like this is a very significant shift that happens in the first 2 weeks of, January, and it sort of sets the pace for your year. Are you Pisces by chance? And look, you can do the I'm not trying to push my thing, you're Taurus. Do you have Pisces in your chart? Rising, moon, or like I'm a Cancer sun, a Pisces moon, and an Aries rising. So got a lot of water and a little fire. And so your rising sign is like how the world views you, how they see you. So people see me as a little fiery, right? Bold, bold. And your sun sign is like, I don't know. But Pisces is like it's just a feeling of like what's going on in the next set. Like Jupiter moved into Pisces, and this is supposed to be like really lucky for people who are Pisces. And it's sort of that feeling of like, this is your big shift right now. It's like this big shift is going to be happening to you on a more spiritual level, connecting in with your own intuition and sort of moving in that. And that's sort of sets your pace for your day-to-day life. Weird hair going on here. Oh, sorry. Um, it sort of sets your pace, and it just feels like it's really important, this shift that happens. And it feels like the first 2 weeks of January feel like sort of setting the pace for that. So maybe it's that you get really into studying the law of assumption and understanding how your thoughts create your world, and understand that we consciously create. So instead of like, waking up and just doing your sort of like robot mode of, this is my first thought of every day. I always get out of the bed the same way. This is my first thought of the day. This is the way I always go get my coffee. I always do this. I always do that. And I go to the job that I always know how to, like, I basically could do in my sleep. Like, it's sort of like deciding that I'm going to change my first thoughts of the day. And that sort of starts to shift everything. And holy moly, that sort of starts to shift everything. You're in mediumship circles, which is brand new. Okay. So it just feels like there's this big shift of the way you approach and the way you look at things within the first 2 weeks of January, and then it sort of like changes everything starting like February and setting everything differently. And listen, people get caught up on like mediumship versus psychic versus, whatever. You're reading energy, and everything contains the same amount of energy. So it's like that. Like when people get caught up on like, I'm a pet psychic, I'm like, yeah, and you can read other things too. It's whether or not you choose to do it and be open to it. But like, it's all the same. And when it feels different when I'm doing the readings, it's more so to delineate a significance for me, right? So like the idea of comparison. So it's like, well, if I'm tapping in as someone you guys like, oh, read my dad or whatever, they don't necessarily feel much different than the way a guide would. But if they come in on their own, it's going to feel different to me, to get me to know. It's just different. I don't know how to explain it, but it's more about my own communication than it is really about that the energy is really any different. But I also feel like moving in this direction and doing things this way shifts everything. It's not just your spiritual life, it shifts your work life too. Okay. All right. Julie O, Mo, and Leo sign. You guys are up. You're very welcome. I hope that was helpful. Julie, not really until like the end of 2022. And it feels like they're sort of saying like, it feels like, you're stuck. So are you having writer's block or sort of that? It's like, feels like the momentum has stopped. Does that resonate when I say that? It's just like the momentum of it has stopped. I should sit up more. I don't think so. My little one is so funny. So they, Santa brought them some smelly lotion, and hers this snickerdoodle scent. You got published. So, congratulations. Did I predict that? Are you working on a second book? You just made snickerdoodles. So I was gonna say, so my daughter was like, she'll be 5 soon, and she was really cute because my mom was talking about, well, it's nice out. We should go outside, and she's like, Nini, I don't want to go outside because the skin will this pretty smell will go off of my skin, and my skin will leave. It's just funny the way she processes and says things. So Julie, are you? Oh, I did. Okay. So here's my question: are you working on a second one, or I just feel like it's something with the end of 2022. So I feel like the beginning feels like the momentum is gone or the momentum is not there. So I don't know if they're like, if it's out of your hands and you can't do anything with it. Wait, guess what? It's out of your hands. You can't do anything with it. So it feels like something will happen with it by the end of 2022. I don't think it gets totally shelved completely. It just feels like they're trying to find the best time to release it so that you get the best exposure. And I just heard backlog. So I don't know if they have a backlog of things that they're releasing. But I also feel like you'll be working on a second book in the meantime. Like, so that's how I feel about it. Okay. I'll leave you with that. Mo, let's see. Thank you so much for your time. You're very welcome. What job, industry, career will bring me happiness? Where, when will this happen? So that's more than one question. You're very welcome, Julie. Sometimes I feel like I understand these kind of questions, because I sort of ask, like, well, what am I going to do with my abilities? Like, what do I do with this? Right. And I asked that to a lot of different readers over time. And it was always interesting to see what people would come up with. And what I finally understood of this, like, sort of thing is it doesn't really matter. Like, there's so many different possibilities, right? I know it's like a shitty, crappy answer. But then I keep bringing back to this kid, Albert, who's gotten readings on here. I don't know if he still watches this or not, but I think of him often. And when he first came on, he was in high school. I didn't realize it. So we were doing free questions at the time, so he wasn't paying. And he was like, well, what am I going to do? And I kept seeing him being a doctor. Like, I keep saying, you, are you sure? He's like, no, whatever. And then he ended up, he's like a lawyer, and he went to law school. He started to go with it to school here in the East Coast, which is where I said he would go. And he started out with the direction of going into law, and now he's in med school. So, you don't have to apologize. The questions are just very broad, and I always think sometimes though it is about giving up your power a little bit, and it's sort of they're sort of like literally whatever you want to do. It's funny, so I'm like, well, hello, narrow it down. And I just got just like a little burst of culinary came to my mind. So it may not be that you're specifically a chef or a caterer, but it could end up being going into as a dietitian, something, but there's something with food being important. You were a chef or a caterer? So I don't feel like you're going to stray so far from that as you think you will, but I feel like it takes on a different. I'm looking for the wrong word, and I feel like if I say the word, it's the wrong word, so it's not really what I want. You had a small meal prep business and always worked in the food industry. Okay, so they're letting me know to connect in. It feels like it maybe not be in that thing, but I just keep feeling like educating and teaching people. So there's this whole weird stuff that happens where it's like, eat this, don't eat that, keto, paleo, vegan, semi-vegan, conscious vegan. I don't know, whatever. And it sort of feels like teaching people about food. So I saw this really cool Instagram thing, and this woman was like, there's no such thing as a vegetable. You're either eating a fruit, a tuber, or a root. Like you never, or a leaf, a plant. You're not really eating a vegetable. There's not like that doesn't really exist. It's not really, but that's just what stores use to sell, right? So it's sort of this idea that like teaching people to love food and enjoy food in a very different way, like educating people. So it's not so much about like I'm preparing like robot. It's like teaching people the love that you have for food and then helping them fall in love with food too in a different way. Because there's a health aspect to it, but it's like not the orthorexia health aspect, right? And orthorexia is like sort of like an obsession with eating healthy and being healthy, like an unhealthy obsession. I have this idea for a meal prep company, and I'm holding it until I meet the right people. It's for the neurodivergent community. Because food can be such a like issue for people who are neurodivergent. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. So I know you're like, ugh, I already did that whole world, but it feels like something within that's still there. It's just you need to use that to move into this. So there's still something there with that. So it's maybe finding a different direction with it and find your passion with it. There is nothing that we should do or that we're supposed to do in life. So we need to get away from that conversation of like, or that idea or that belief system that somehow our life purpose, we have a failure. Your life purpose is every experience that you have here. And then you just pick preferences along the way and you follow your passion and you follow your intuition and you haven't failed if you haven't done X, Y, and Z, and you haven't failed if you don't have X, Y, and Z accomplishments. Or yes, I am not done yet, and I will be done when I come out of here. So I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. Okay. You're good. My apologies for the interruption. Leo sign, you're up. Ola K. That resonates. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate your time. You're very welcome. You're uniquely you for a reason. Don't try to be somebody else. Just be yourself and you'll bring to the table what needs to be brought. Who's not you? Ghost, who are you? What's your name for your payment? Because you didn't put your screen name in it, so I didn't know. Oh, there you are, Ghost. Okay, I'm sorry. What do I see happening between me and G, the person I'm inquiring about moving in the next new year? We've been in no contact for a bit, not too long. Need some insight about. Could you mind giving me the full name for G? I don't know why I didn't write your name down, Ghost. Sorry. Yeah, it was. I did something wrong. I don't know. Whatever. I messed something up probably. Her name's a bit tricky. Okay, to pronounce. It's okay. Sometimes if I just read it, it helps. For tourist, no problem. Okay. Let me read your question again. Okay. I actually see a shift. So you might be in no contact for a couple of months. And it feels like a shift in movement in March. And it feels like contacting you and like either seeing a post you made or a friend talking about you, whatever, or I was just thinking about you and I felt like I should reach out. And that's when the shift occurs. But it occurs because of you. So going in through the law of assumption and working on your self-concept and sort of changing that thought process of having her up on a pedestal and being like, of course she wants to be with me. That idea of like, of course I'm good enough and I'm chosen and I'm worthy and I'm valuable. And of course, like, because there isn't anybody better and a better fit for her. And so I'm not worried about this time that we're not talking because it's just a blink of the eye and it's time passes so quickly. And of course this person wants to be with me and she really likes me. But that's why I feel like it happens. But I feel like she doesn't, like the connection doesn't happen until March. And it's sort of like you working on your self-concept and working on your self-worth and value shifts everything. So I've got some stuff on my channel where I talk about manifesting, and I'm going to try and be getting back into this, but I've got stuff on my channel about manifesting. There's other people. Kim Velez talks about manifesting, Neville Goddard, Florence Scovel-Shinn. Those are good places to look. Okay. But, and it's through the law of assumption, not just, the idea that like what I put out there comes back to me. It's like understanding, and Joe Dispenza talks about like understanding that your thoughts create your reality. You can also try the whisper technique where you imagine whispering into her ear and saying like, Ghost is such an amazing man. You want to call him? I don't know. All right. Leo sign and Ola K, you're up. You're welcome. I thank you for your support. I hope you're subscribed. Come back and visit us. And next week I will tell everybody how much we have, and I'll print all of the, like, because I donate pretty much weekly. Sometimes I wait and I donate one thing the next week or whatever, but I'll print all the things. You can see all the receipts, and I'll let you know how much we've donated for 2021. Wait, that will publish it as an ebook for free. What will happen next? So it feels like it sits a little bit, like it feels like it's kind of quiet, and you feel like it feels a little bit of crickets for like the first like couple weeks it's on. And it feels like that like deflated sense of like, oh, what am I gonna do? But I literally feel like you need to sell yourself. You need to like post it on everywhere that you go, talk about it, sell your book, love your book, chat it up, tell everybody you know, get all of your friends to post about it. And that's where it starts to gain momentum, because it's good, but it just feels like you're not quite comfortable advertising yourself. This is what actors do. Like people, because I've seen actors get into, like, I follow a lot of marketing people too on Twitter, and um, they talk a lot about like, oh, well, these celebrities it's so easy for them, blah, blah, blah. They don't have to earn trust. They don't have to do this, that, but they've been selling themselves as their own product their entire life, right? So, or their entire career. So they have to sell themselves to an agent. They have to sell themselves to casting directors. They have to sell themselves to directors and to producers. And then they have to sell themselves to be believable to the audience. And then they go out and they sell the movie. And then they go, like, they're constantly selling themselves. They're constantly having to prove themselves. And it feels like you have to be willing to sell yourself. Like, it took me a long time to be like, oh yeah, I'm a reader. Like, it took me a long time to come out of the psychic closet and just say, like, I think it buffered just now because it did a weird screen thing. Oh, that's why I feel the thing. You need to like just get proud and start selling yourself, because it's going to sit for a little bit, and that's where I think it is. And then you have to be like, hey, find a way, have other people get bold, because it's good. Like, don't be afraid to sell yourself, but you're going to have to help promote yourself. That's the hard part about working under a pseudonym, but you promote yourself, and give people, send people copies of it so they read it and then they tell other people about it. Most of my business, besides from here, comes from word of mouth. I don't do a ton of advertising. But I do talk about myself in different ways. I kind of like, I had to get out of worrying about what people would think of me. And that's hard when you're not used to doing that. So you might have to be like, or I read this wonderful book, you guys should check it out. You don't have to say it's you that wrote it. Tell other people about it, but spread the word. You have to sell yourself even if you're not out there. That's what I feel like. I feel like you're going to feel disappointed that it's not getting, but it's really just that it's not picking up in the algorithm. And that sort of happens here for me, honestly. Like, I'm working on trying to get myself out there more and all of that stuff. My numbers are picking up more on TikTok than they ever did here, like quicker. So it's just the way the system is. It's sometimes stuff gets buried a little bit. So you have to like get people to read it, get people to write reviews. So even if you're like, hey, I read this great book, tell your friends about it, get them to help you advertise, get them to pass the word along. Get the support. It's okay to be supported. I am supported is a great mantra. I am supported. Okay. Hola, Kay, where are you at? It's the energy surrounding my husband's physical body. He's been going through health issues. Thank you. Do you mind giving me his first name? Jesus. You can delete then, so since it's personal. Stomach, and then I feel like almost like lower back hip issues. Does this resonate? lots of anxiety. There's like a lot of gut stuff going on. I felt like upper, like the epigastric area, and then I felt like my lower intestines. But then I just feel like this pressure in my low back and hips. So I'm asking about like autoimmune stuff. It's interesting because I feel like it's a nerve thing in the lower back that's causing the lower back hip stuff. It feels autoimmune, but I don't know exactly what one causes stomach and nerve issues. Like would cause, I mean, like motility could technically be a nerve issue, could be not getting the signals. There's also like he's also feeling very defeated emotionally because I feel like it's going on a long time and it feels like not getting clear answers, like sort of feeling like I'm getting bounced around. Um, Sorry, it's like I get weird facially. Weird. I just feel like needing to calm down the inflammation, needing to calm down the inflammation in my body. Like it's just like everything is like firing and communicating wrong. I'm trying to think who you would see for an autoimmune allergy immunology, maybe. Has he gone to an allergy immunologist and gotten tested for autoimmune disorders? I just want to look up because I heard fibromyalgia, but I'm not sure that that really fits what I'm feeling. So they gave him medicine for, H. pylori. I don't know that that's what it is. And I say that because I feel the upper and I get that would make sense there. Like if he's having some kind of ulcer, but would that affect his lower intestines and would that cause the hip and the back pain? Would that, hang on. Oh, this is interesting. Does he have chronic pain? So the yes, no is hard because it feels like there's a delay here. So if you could just give a little description of what you're saying yes or no to, that would be lovely. This thing says here that like people with fibromyalgia could have like altered gut health, which would make sense for the H. pylori, but I'm wondering if there's just not something else going on. It might not be bad to look into like like have him take these if he's not feeling better, then maybe and has the chronic pain to maybe look at meeting with an allergy immunology. Does he have the lower back pain and the hip pain? Or joint pain? And it does feel like it gets better. It just feels like needing to calm down the inflammation. He lost so much weight, he can gain weight no more. Yes. He gets lower back. No, I'm not done, and I will be done when I get out of here. Please don't come in again. Come on, Julie, you can be patient. So that's just what I feel. It'll get better. It just feels like this is like and then it feels like cruising. I know this sounds really long, but by February, I feel like things are moving in the right direction. It doesn't mean it doesn't start to improve before then. It just feels like moving in the right direction by February. Okay, Ashley, you want to talk to your dad, George? Heather, if you want to go ahead and. I'm genuinely not feeling him step in. Like he's not, because I'm like, George, what do you want her to know? And it just sort of it sort of doesn't feel like, and it's not that he doesn't love you and isn't around you, but it's sort of like it's just that feeling of like everything I've said it's like just keep focusing on yourself, just keep doing your thing. But he also feels like has a really funny sense of humor around like dancing and music and like being silly with it. So I don't know if that was his personality, but like he was singing that song, It's Getting Hot in Here. And granted, it is getting hot in here because my heater's on, but who is that? It's from the 90s. And I would say it's probably from it's late 90s to early 2000 because it's during when I was in college. Yes, what, Ashley? You wanted to talk to your dad. So he's showing me a cruciferous vegetable. So it's either cauliflower or broccoli. I'm leaning towards it being cauliflower. Is there a connection with you, Ashley, for cauliflower and your dad? And I know there's a saying in French that's mon petit chouchou, which is like my little cabbage. It's a term of endearment, but there's some little something about that. So the thing with that is like, would he have like joked around and like sung a song, like maybe not that song in particular, but it was just like I felt him like joking around. It's just that feeling of like being silly and dancing. I love you. It's like the other times that he's come through, he's been so much stronger, and I don't know, it's the feeling of like, it's sort of the repetition of like, make sure you're focusing on yourself, make sure you're taking care of yourself. Was he silly? Look, I don't dance a lot, but I'm silly with my kids, and like so I might like I operatically sing songs for them. Like I'll change one of their silly songs into something like an operatic version, which is quite painful on the ears if you're present for it, but it makes them laugh. So it just feels like he's being a little silly, like he's got this silly kind of personality. So he's not saying a ton, and I hate doing that, like being like, come on, come through. But it's sort of like, I've said what I've said. Like, she needs to focus on herself. She needs to know that she's like wonderful and worthy and valuable. And that's one thing he didn't do enough of, teaching you of your worth and your value. And when we look as parents, like we want our kids to know that they're worthy and valuable, but then like sometimes we don't do a good job of teaching them that. He was silly at times and always joking with me. Okay, that's what that is. So it's just like really put yourself on a pedestal, that it's not arrogant, that it's not selfish, like it's okay to be selfish. And he's sort of saying like, put yourself on that pedestal, treat yourself well, like you deserve the best. Does he have something like some heritage somewhere that would be Hispanic or Latino? Because I heard mija, but I don't know that you're, so maybe Dominican. I don't know. But I don't know if he would have, I mean, that's Spanish to say mija, mijita. So I'm going to go ahead and move on because he's not really. We got the bots. Return of the Bot. Sorry, that song, Return of the Mac? No. Sorry. Terrible songs from the 90s. No Hispanic heritage. Okay, well, I don't know why he would have said it that way. Have you done the 23andMe? You sure? Oh, isn't that interesting that I was trying to tell you to get rest and not get sick and you got COVID? See, okay, so when I talk about learning your intuition and connecting them with your intuition, and I tell you guys, if you don't have to be scared, they're not going to tell you things that are really, really scary, or even if it is negative, like when I was driving on the highway in college and they were like, you're going to fly off the highway. I wasn't driving. My friend was driving when you hit underneath that overpass. And then we did. It was like this very weird, slow motion, interesting thing. Like it wasn't scary. I was extremely calm. So it was just, I don't know. So it wasn't scary the way it came through for you. It was like, just make sure you're getting enough rest and drinking and all of that stuff. So I hope you're feeling better now. All right, Heather, let's do this. Miss Ashley, just love on yourself. Take care of yourself. Be good to yourself. How's Henry? Let's see. Henry off and on for the last one. It seems to be complicated. I think that that's okay to do that, to stay home and rest and take care of yourself. And that's a good thing. Okay, Heather, let's look at Henry. So I'm going to go into the manifesting thing because that's kind of where this one's at. Because they literally said, well, if it's not him, it's somebody else. So it doesn't feel like you're very welcome. Um, Happy New Year to you. I'll see you in the new year. But maybe I'll get on this week. I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna go to my TikTok. I'm gonna try and post some videos there. I'm gonna record something real quick after this. So Heather, have you had a lot of complicated relationships? There's a lot of push and pull, a lot of like it just feels like, or picking people that are emotionally unavailable. Um, that's the feeling I get, where they're like, it's going to keep following you until you work on yourself. And so there's a reason that you came and you asked on this specific thing, because we've talked a lot about self-concept already. I do talk about it a lot because I really do believe in mindset, and I really do believe in law of assumption. Our beliefs create our reality. And I talk a lot with my hands. um, it's it feels a lot like you settle for breadcrumbs a lot, and you settle for like bare minimum. And it doesn't make you high maintenance to be like, I expect to be treated a certain way. It doesn't make you a mean person or a bad person, or it just means you know your boundaries and you're willing to set them. And the truth is that nobody has to honor your boundaries other than yourself. If somebody doesn't honor your boundaries, then either new boundaries get set, or we create distance, physical distance or emotional distance, in order to honor that boundary. Or you reset your boundary and decide, well, maybe I don't have to hold it so tight with that person. I don't know, whatever. But usually your boundary is a boundary, right? Hi, light energy, silent tarot. It's good to see you. Welcome, welcome. So my feeling is that it's not so much that it's like, I actually feel like what happens is this thing's going to fall away. It's not going to be anything that's permanent. It's a feeling of working on your own self-concept. I actually feel that by like end of February into March. I know I keep getting these time frames, but sometimes things come in time frames. That's how they show me things. It feels like cutting things off and being done. And it feels like a return of this person in October of next year. And you sort of going like, cause you've worked on your self-concept and you're working on like kind of just like valuing yourself and realizing how worthy you are, and that you don't need to tolerate less than. So it just feels like by October, this person kind of makes a comeback, and then you're kind of like, yeah, why was I even ever tolerating that? As we go through our growth, right, our struggles and our growth, you sort of look back and you're like, oh my God. Like I look at myself in my 20s, I'm like, what? And even my 30s, where I'm like, why was I tolerating so much stuff from people? And why did I think that I had to tolerate it? And why did I think that I didn't deserve better? And it's the same thing where I was talking about here, like even at the beginning, where it's like, you're worth the $12. Like I get paid a lot more for private readings. So it's okay for me to ask more here. And it's okay for me, I'm still doing the work I do. I'm not begrudging anybody. So it sort of feels that it's really important for you to start learning to value yourself and see yourself as the wonderful person you are, and that you don't have to tolerate that push and pull. There may be an element of like sort of thriving on the drama, because it creates like an adrenaline rush, and it creates this like excitement, which is it's not a good excitement, but it's a dopamine hit. It's also, they're making me feel like there's comfort and chaos for you. Whereas, I don't know if you're still here, Heather, but um, when things are calm, you're sort of like, oh my God, when are things going to fall apart? Because everything always falls apart when it's calm. And they're sort of like, it's okay to have periods of calm. It doesn't mean that there's not love or attraction in those moments, because it's not all like fiery, whatever. It's like, it's like that there's safety and calm, and maybe Not maybe, it's that feeling of like growing up in chaos. And so like when things are calm, it doesn't feel like love because that's not what you were taught love was. I don't know if any of that resonates, but it's the feelings I'm getting. Your last name is fine. We were just, we watched Encanto last night with my kids and my mom. My mom hadn't seen it. We watched a lot of kids movies. And there's a song that's like, we don't talk about Bruno, no. We were singing it a lot. And then my 4-year-old's really cute because she does her little man voice and sings it in a deep voice. Yeah, but I feel like it sort of kind of peters out. Like you're sort of just, there becomes a break in it. So it's not so much about like, it's not out of your control. It's like you sort of finally are like, all right, it's sort of run its cycle again. And then when it comes back around again in October, it feels like it's sort of, you're done with that because you're like, I'm going to do my own thing and focus on me and heal me and do all that. So, but I don't feel like you really get to that decision and that awareness until like February, March-ish. And Light Energy Tarot, I am good. Thank you for asking. At the beginning of this, I said like energy has been a bit chaotic. That's why I've been a bit like not just been doing these Sunday readings and not on for my manifesting chats, but I am on TikTok and on Instagram. But yeah, just been a little, and I think it's part of my own manifesting where sometimes when you're manifesting things and behaviors out, it like the chaos happens before you find the calm, and that's okay too. I'm just in the middle of my manifesting, right? And my Christmas was nice. It was low key. Just my mom's in town, so that's nice. It feels like a long way, but you know what? I got readings years and years ago where they said you would be doing this professionally and doing well, but like not for 8 years. I'm now past that 8 years and I'm doing way better than I ever thought. And I'm continuing to grow and do better. And I'm excited about where it's going, but I get it. Time is funny. And it's like, they say with parenting, like the days are long and the years are fast. It'll go by. It'll be okay. So that is it for this evening. Thank you so much for everybody's love and support in 2021 and all of the money that we've donated to the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. And I will tell you next week exactly what that adds up to. I am going to be back, and next week we're going to do a little bit of different format. The prices are going to be slightly higher, but that's okay. It's not anything astronomical, and you will still get the readings that you get. And the money will still, 30% will still go to charity. So it's increasing a little bit the amount that we're able to donate, which is really, really awesome. And that's that. I hope that you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. If you're not vaccinated, maybe think about it. Wear a mask, wash your hands, all of that stuff. Let's just all take care of ourselves and take care of each other as well. Sending you lots and lots of love for the week. And I will see you on Sunday for sure. Okay. Have a good one. Thank you, KK. And if you're interested in my psychic development circle, it starts January 11th, 1/11/22. Look at those great numbers. Have a good one. Bye. Check out my website for that.